Yep.
Cinema Classics is sponsored by the Gateway Film Center and is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to shows online at WCBE.org. I'm Johnny DiLoretto.
I'm John DeSando.
This is Cinema Classics.
Right. And we're both kind of heroes of radio, don't you think?
One might make the argument that we're rebels more than heroes.
Okay. So what's your difference?
That's a good question. A hero seems to be someone who upholds the status quo, maybe when it's threatened by outside forces.
Sure.
And a rebel is clearly threatening to destroy the status quo.
Yeah.
I mean, would you agree? Like in its simplest terms.
Yeah, and I think that in the article that Mary Arena sent us from Culture Magazine, in which the author was making the point that Hollywood has often promoted heroes, not all John Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
And
John Wayne didn't always play a hero.
Right.
I think in movies like The Searchers and Red River, there's quite a bit of complexity there.
Yes, right. And
although in real life we know he was an utter scumbag.
You mean because he was a Republican?
Yeah, because he was a racist.
All right. Oh, oops. Well, and let's separate this
we'll examine the difference on another show.
Let's separate this from our English major background, which puts hero as the central character of a literary piece or a dramatic piece.
Mm-hmm.
You don't qualify it with the good that they're doing. They're just simply the principal characters of that. So that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're talking about doing deeds and becoming heroic, as you might say Nelson Mandela in our society.
Right.
You can clearly... Now, however, the article makes the distinction about three of our most famous rebels.
Okay.
Which we sometimes call, as heroes, but the rebels. Now, these rebels, what's distinctive about Marlon Brando, for instance?
You mean in The Wild One?
Yeah.
Yeah, The Wild One, he's, it's that 50s, early 50s, kind of, well, I'll tell you right off the bat, he's hard to like.
Uh-huh.
I mean, as a character, he's kind of abrasive and, he is combative, aggressive. He doesn't come off early on in that movie as a guy you want to get behind.
And he's extremely self-centered.
Yeah. And and that's a different movie. Like The Wild One seems like a very B movie. Like a programmer,
It is not.
In a way that's when you see Rebel Without a Cause with James Dean, totally different, right? James Dean is put upon, that character is put upon. He is definitely kind of wrestling with some demons.
Yeah, he's troubled.
And in today's parlance, he would be a nerd, except that he's not. He's James Dean. He looks really cool.
But he is rebellious in the way he talks, the way he dresses, the way he deals with people. But he has no, as the title says, he has no cause.
Yeah.
Now, the third one that we're thinking about...
But see, the cause is this feeling, right? This feeling, we know that there is a cause. And the cause is disrupting this kind of membrane of privilege or of, like I said before, the status quo, this sense that what's happening, the general mood, there's something wrong with it. There's something that denies, it's like this conscious denial of pain or suffering or, it's just...
So he's unhappy with the way things are and the way he's been treated.
Yeah.
His place, he doesn't have a place. And that is also very self-centered. Would you call that anti-hero? Does that anti-hero term...
I mean, in movies like that, I would say that Brando in The Wild One is more of an anti-hero.
Okay.
And then he comes around. I mean, he becomes a more sympathetic character, if I remember.
Okay.
I haven't seen that movie for
me too.
25, 30 years. I think when we're talking about anti-hero, you have to go a little bit in more clearer, for more clearer definitions of that to characters like Travis Bickle.
And that's a great choice. Now, Bickle has some societal something around him that has to do with society that's different from Dean and Brando.
I see. Here's what I think is not different at all.
Ah.
I think if you, Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver also doesn't have a cause. Doesn't have a cause because he can't articulate it. For number one, he's mentally ill. Number two, he is mentally ill by all contemporary definitions of that.
But look, isn't he going after
He
the
is,
prostitutes?
but what I'm saying is he can't really articulate
the pimps
it, John.
and the drug dealers.
He can't articulate it. It's a general feeling that he needs to react against the world in which he's trapped. And when he erupts in violence, he necessarily erupts at these other structures, these structures that hold women down, these structures that hold society down. At first, he lashes out at Senator Palantine. Then he lashes out at Harvey Keitel, the pimp. So his aggressions are aimed in the right places. I just don't know that Travis really can articulate what he's against, except that it is everything.
Well, I really like that take on it. Whether he is conscious, a little bit like Hamlet. Hamlet can't be a murderer. He can't be thrown out of society if he doesn't understand what he's doing. He's just crazy.
Yeah.
And I love that point about Travis, because I've often thought Travis was really some kind of a warped knight cleaning up the city.
He is, but it takes this form. It takes a form that is unacceptable,
like
to
that
society.
So we have heroes and we have rebels.
Yeah. Well, what else you got? Do you have any more contemporary rebels?
Well, that's what I'm thinking about. Who would be in film a rebel?
I think we got to talk about in the '90s, Thelma and Louise.
Okay.
As both
Good.
obviously outlaws.
Yeah.
They're rebelling against the patriarchy. They're rebelling against their husbands. They're rebelling against rape. They're rebelling against all these things that kind of hold women down. And I think in the movie, they're definitely outlaws. But actually at that time, it also seems culturally, in America, they were rebels. And that image of them sailing over the cliff, choosing death rather than being once again consumed by and eaten up by the male system. They would rather die. I know that critically at that time, feminists had a problem with that ending, but I think it's lasting, and I think it's a mistake to look at an image and ascribe that's the only representational power it has. We don't ever see them die. We see the car frozen in the sky.
Yep.
They're flying, and in our imaginations, Thelma and Louise live on.
For me, and I like that, let's pick up on women. So how do we categorize Wonder Woman? Gal Gadot?
Yeah.
Looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, and I haven't really thought this out, but I would say that as a hero, on the surface, Wonder Woman, at least this iteration of her, is fighting against the destruction of what is. She's fighting against, with all these superhero movies, usually there's something, the fate of the world is at stake. Lives are at stake.
Yeah.
When lives are at stake, the hero is really concerned with something that's less systematic and more visceral.
All right, good. And I think that's what our superhero movies have kind of warped our sense of hero. Because if you take the Marvel characters and you take all of them seem to be somehow doing good for the world, I think that we've layered over so many superpowers that we've lost the sense of the inherent goodness of what they're doing.
For sure, right. The one movie that does kind of get at it a little differently is Captain America, the Civil War.
Okay.
Where Captain America and Iron Man take different stands against the government's restrictions on superheroism.
Yeah. So, gosh, I don't think...
Captain America's the rebel in that.
Yeah, I like that. But I'm struggling for non-superheroes in contemporary cinema for finding heroes.
I'm struggling to find a rebel.
You don't find anything in The Devil All the Time?
No, no, I
I
don't.
don't find it.
I don't know where to go with that, but
I know. I'm just picking a movie that we both have just seen within the last week.
yeah,
And,
no, there's no rebels in there.
all right. We got
don't know. We want to figure out an ending here.
Oh. Yeah. So, I could just say that. So I want.
Well, I would think. I think actually it can end where I'm struggling to find a rebel.
Yeah.
I don't. Let's go from that idea. So
How about Joker?
Go ahead and say. Go ahead again.
So, would you consider Joker a rebel?
In this latest iteration, yes,
Okay.
I do, because again, like Traps, and the movie is a thinly veiled remake of Taxi Driver, but
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, in that respect, in a mentally, it seems like the mentally ill is the sane one, right? Because the world seems to be mentally ill and no one's doing anything about it.
Very good.